You know it. The Middle East never sleeps. It's absolutely crazy there because the Iranian regime is about to pay a very heavy price. This is according to the chairman of Israel's Foreign Affairs and Security Committee. It was also added that he called on the Israelis to wait patiently and remain alert. At the same time, it was confirmed that an additional 12 American refueling aircraft have landed. It seems that preparation for the second phase of the military operation against Iran are reaching their peak. While all of this is happening, the IDF have demolished a large terrorist tunnel system in southern Lebanon, while the footage posted by the Lebanese media have showed a very large explosion and blast. Also, an air defense missile was launched towards an Israeli drone in Lebanon. However, we do not know if the drone was hit or not. Also, CENTCOM stated that the United States Marine conducted a right to visit on a vessel that was suspected of attempting to violate the United States naval blockade of Iran. However, on the vessel, nothing related to Iran was found, so it was released later. Also, according to CNN, at the moment, the mediators are exerting pressure on both sides, so the United States and Iran, and the coming few days are extremely crucial because the United States could withdraw from the talks and return to war. And you all know my opinion. I strongly believe that Iran will return to war and probably also seize the Kalk Island. However, we will see what will really happen very soon. It was also stated from the Qatari foreign minister spokesperson that there's full coordination with Pakistan within the framework of ongoing mediation. Also, I want to go back to this news a tiny bit second more, because I strongly believe that the pressure exerted here is not equal, especially for the other Arab states, because we got news that some countries like Saudi Arabia want the war to continue, especially since they're profiting from the high margins of selling the oil. So I don't even know how much true this news is, especially since CNN claimed it got it from sources. However, of course, we do not know who these sources are, which absolutely makes sense because they cannot just release the names, but still, I wanted just to mention that. However, while all of this is happening, a Gulf Summit meeting will be held today in Saudi Arabia. This is according to the Al Arabiya correspondent. There were also news that according to the national media agency, raids were conducted by the Israeli army, so airstrikes on Lebanon. We were also informed that the ceasefire got extended for quite a few more time. I believe it was something like between 4th and 7th May. Something like that. The reason why the ceasefire was extended, it was said that both sides had good talks. However, according to other news, they were stuck, so it seems it was more prolonged, the ceasefire for Iran. Also, it seems that up to 35 terrorists got detained after the Israeli army have conducted raids in towns north of East Jerusalem. The White House spokesperson also announced that Trump met with the national security team and the Iranian proposal is being discussed. However, as we know, in a later stated news, the president stated, better said, sources stated that the president is not satisfied with the offer from Iran, and I believe this meeting was held to plan further consequences and tactical moves against Iran. Also, this guy claimed that a senior United States official just informed him that war will resume very soon. Basically, Trump has concluded that the IGC is now in power and beyond negotiations, and he will hold the fire until King Charles' state visit ends. So this is about end of the month, or in other words, the upcoming days. We were also informed that Iran's Supreme National Security Council warned that anti-regime protests could resume within days because of the bad economy of Iran. So, economic pressure is the main trigger. It was assessed that Iran may only withstand another 6 to 8 weeks of the United States naval blockade, and by the end of spring, up to 2 million private sector jobs could be lost. However, I want to go into detail a bit more here. We know that one of the main sources of Iran is its oil, and you must understand when the oil gets pumped out of the ground, pressure is needed. So basically Iran must constantly pump out the oil from the ground. If they stop doing it, the facility could get damaged massively, so even above 50% loss of oil withdrawal from the earth, or a second option, it gets completely destroyed. However, of course, Iran doesn't have unlimited space. I personally assume that they have space for, let's say, up to 4 more months. This is just because they can lower the production, but of course, lowering the production means getting a higher risk that the pressure is too low and the oil spots get basically sealed. You can imagine it is a glue. The oil has such a consistency. Also, additionally, the oil cannot be stored anywhere because you can imagine like that the oil just gets wet or unusable, let's say it that way. Also, the oil produces very dangerous gases, or in other words, if you would store it improperly, basically everything could explode. We could also confirm that over 1,000 terrorist infrastructure sites used by the terrorists in the state of Lebanon were dismantled, while the troops located hundreds of weapons, including machine guns, Kalashnikov, rifles, grenades, mines, pistols, and so on. Also reportedly, Trump have just confirmed that Ghalibaf has been removed from Iran's negotiation team, and according to Trump, Iran sent people that nobody ever heard of instead of serious players, because this guy was leading Iran's delegations in the first round, Pakistan, alongside with Abbas Araji. However, Tehran is trying to deny all of this, and they say they are united, and they call it enemy media narratives. The chief of the General Staff of the Israeli Defense Forces also announced that they are still in the midst of a multi-front war and that the IDF are establishing a new security reality. So, creating buffer security zones in different countries like Gaza, Syria, and Lebanon. He also praised the operations against Iran. He also stated that the battle in Lebanon continues and it will not stop until the security of the northern settlements is guaranteed. He also stated that currently 3 negotiations are happening in Iran, Lebanon, and Gaza. Friedrich Merz also stated on Iran that the problem with conflicts like this is that it's not just about getting in, you also have to find a way out. He further stated that they have seen how difficult it is over 20 years in Afghanistan, and we saw it in Iraq. Also, as we know, the Russian president Vladimir Putin met with the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araji, and it was added that Putin said, "Last week I received a message from the Supreme Leader of Iran. I would like to convey my most sincere words of gratitude and to confirm that Russia, like Iran, intends to continue our strategic relations." And Iran responded on that, and the response is really interesting because it states that I was asked to confirm during the visit that Russian-Iranian relations continue to be a strategic partnership at the highest level. This is the way we'll move forward. And the way he mentioned it, he starts with I was asked. So basically, what Russia did here, they say, hey, of course, we will help you, but we also need help, and of course, we don't do it for free. So let's continue our strategic partnership to help us each other in our wars at the highest level. It was also reportedly stated that Qatar has ended its 2-decade relationship with Hamas and will no longer serve as host or mediator for the group, according to sources. It was also stated that most of the Hamas political leadership has already departed the country. It is expected that Turkey potentially offers terrorist safety. It was also reported that many United States military transporters, aircraft, were spotted likely transporting munition, including missiles and aerial bombs. Marco Rubio also stated in an interview that he thinks the Iranians are serious about getting themselves out of the mess that they are in. He further stated that all the problems they had before the start of this conflict are still there or was, but now they have half the missiles, none of the factories, and no navy. And of course, lastly, Iran said at the United Nations that they are seeking credible guarantees against future United States-Israeli attacks before ensuring Gulf stability. He stated that this can be only achieved by a permanent cessation of aggression, supplemented by credible guarantees of non-recurrence. Well, I would recommend the terrorist regime in Iran to guarantee to stop doing the terrorist attacks on other countries and stop playing the victim card all the time. Of course, I wish the Iranian people all the best. It must be horrible to live in such a situation.